Casemiro is leaving Manchester United. Uncle Cass is leaving us at the end of this season, has been confirmed by Manchester United, the football club, and Casemiro himself. Real quick, just want to start off the show by saying, thank you to Uncle Cass for everything. I think, listen, for me, in my opinion, he was and is an exceptional player. I think he came to this football club. It's unfortunate we never got him in his prime, but his time here has been good overall. And I think that's always important as a player, especially when you come to Manchester United, that, when we do look back at your time being here, you have had a bigger impact or have had a greater impact. You've done more good than you've had bad times, and I certainly think I could say that about Casemiro. We're going to get into, what this means going forward for Manchester United. A lot of talk about the summer, of course, Elliot Anderson, Adam Wharton, Carlos Baleba, etc., etc. So it's going to be a good show. We also got other updates as well. Apparently, Carrick is now pushing the secret midfielder that they still won't tell us the name of. I feel like I'm watching a reality TV show or something, but apparently Michael Carrick it is a led Michael Carrick push for this secret midfielder. We're going to get into that. And we have some other updates as well going forward. So please make sure you smash the like button. Hope everybody is doing well. Welcome to the channel if you're new. This is the Red Devil Experience. My name is Eric. And I hope everybody's doing well. I see a couple people in the chat already. Lucky is here. Started without us, as he usually does. Renoso's here. Simon is here as well. Just real quick, make sure you smash the like button because it is important to the channel, and we're trying to get to 3,500 subscribers. We're close to 3,300. Let's make it happen. People subscribe, and if you enjoy the content, you do subscribe, hit the notification bell icon because you don't miss a piece of the show. But I need to start this off before I get to the comments, before I get to the chat, and before we really get into the in-depth just part. I think, we have to do this for Uncle Cass. Wrong button. That is still there. Wrong button. Please tell me that this is going to work now. Or it's disappeared on me. It's giving me such a problem. It's giving me a problem. Live technical difficulties. I was going to play the video of, the announcement of Casemiro leaving, but it doesn't want to work. So while I get that fixed, we'll carry on the show as it goes, because it was literally just working a second ago, and now it's not working. So, Lucky says he's pleased to hear this decision. Simon says, good evening. Casemiro still has games to play unless he gets injured. Then that will be it. Yes, of course he does. He's going to play the remaining games of the season, but he's announced it now. He said his reasons for announcing it was because he didn't want the speculation over his future to be misrepresented. This decision by Casemiro and the football club has been made a while ago. So it's not like it just happened. This was they already knew that this was going to happen. Casemiro already knew. He already made this decision. So listen, it's a little bit bittersweet because, listen, again, I rate Casemiro highly. I get the people that say we should let him go because of his age. I've always said, I wouldn't mind one more year to reduced wage. I think there's certain things that we're not going to be able to replace from him. We could get somebody with legs, but you're not going to get that sort of level of experience. You're not going to get sort of that wisdom of football. And there isn't, there's some people that may be like Casemiro, but again, I think Casemiro is one of those guys where he is his own guy. There won't be really another Casemiro. And he's been a brilliant servant to the club as well since he's come here, I think his first season was good. The second season, the first part of that wasn't great, but he brought it up on the second season, the third season, and, this season. So, Simon says, I can't just picture Casemiro saying, I will miss you all. Then someone will pipe up and say, I think Scarecrow, I will miss you the most. Lucky says, it's perfect time to leave, make ownership. No, you go buy, invest in team. Well, they got to do it regardless anyway. Simon says, I saw about Casemiro on the BBC and Sky News. Time to move on. I wish him good luck for the future. Yep. Casemiro has been captain a few times too, says Simon. Listen, and there's no... Oh, there it is. It popped up on the screen now. You see this? Okay. I don't know what's happening. Let's play that. If I could get it to play. All right? Let's see. Please work. All right? I just want to play the farewell video. I think it was a really good video by the football club. And, you know, listen, at the end of the video, you know, I'm not crying. You're crying.
Still a chance here, looping. Casemiro! Gets a great cross in. Brilliant from Manchester United. Casemiro turns centre forward and Manchester United hit the front. Absolutely brilliant. Casemiro for range.
I remember that one. And that one.
Casemiro lifts this into Kobbie Mainoo. Mainoo takes a touch. Kobbie Mainoo! Casemiro comes to the edge of the penalty area. Short ball in, the header is fantastic. Casemiro.
It's a great ball. It's a wonderful header. It's a great ball. What an influential player.
Thank you for your support.
I think he deserves a round of applause. I think he deserves a round of applause. Big up Casemiro. He's had some good times here, man. He's had some good times here. And I think he understands the football club. Yeah, coming from a place like Real Madrid, it's another big club, right? They have massive success. He's had massive success there. And I think he's one of those players that you could say he actually, he gets Manchester United. You know what I mean? He gets what the football club is supposed to be, where it's supposed to be. And I think he's done his part to try and at least, you know, put us back there as an individual, as a player. Obviously, there's bigger things that go on past that. So, you know, The fans will give him a good send-off, especially if he scores on his last game. Well, yeah, I expect that. I expect the fans to give him, a send-off. And, I think it's better that they, I kind of was like, why announce it now? No, why not wait a little bit later? But you know what? We know we're leaving. He's leaving. I guess we could enjoy it a little bit more. We know that this is sort of the end. So, you think he will do well in the World Cup? Well, I hope he does well in the World Cup, and we'll see. I don't know where he's going after. He will be a free agent, so he could literally go anywhere he wants. But, Simon says, thank you, Cassie, for everything. Yep. Some cracking goals scored. Yeah, cracking goals, good defensive actions. He's played some brilliant games where he's, saved our ass, especially when you think about, sort of the first season and maybe even the second season where he was sort of playing in, by himself in the midfield. You know what I mean? At times, essentially, even though he wasn't supposed to, but he was pretty much doing a two-man job as one guy. So, got to show Casemiro and Keane meeting for the first time on the pitch when he was first signed. That I don't have a clip of that, but if I knew, I would have grabbed it. I don't know where I would find it, but we have a show to do, so I can't delay the show to find that clip because it'll mess up the flow. Leon ball to Harry was the highlight, 4-3 in extra time. I mean, yeah, listen, and this is what I'm saying. Like, I get it. The guy's hit a certain age. Maybe he doesn't have a little bit of legs, but there is some things in his game we're not going to necessarily be able to directly replace, at least not in the immediate. Yeah, and you would hope, at least for the longer term, maybe we get somebody that could be as good as him, can be sort of become our own prime Casemiro in a certain way, and that's what we need to do. Renosa says I'm lazy. No, I'm telling you, man. People leave. But yeah, Casemiro put in a good performance just when it was needed most. Smart play, go tackle, says Lucky. Aggressive, good to see that in a player. Yeah, and we hope we get somebody that's similar or close to him, coming up. Whoever we go by now. I need to take that off the screen. All right, take that off the screen. Now, we do have updates. So, there's a couple different updates. I guess we're just going to bounce around for a little bit, but I got a couple things we got to hit here, okay? Some big things, some important things. Like I said, what was reported was the decision to not renew Casemiro's contract was made some time ago, but he chose to announce it himself to prevent incorrect speculation about his future. I respect that as well. People think we're going to get Baleba now. That Casemiro has confirmed he's leaving. People giving their opinions out there. Well, listen, for sure we're going to get a midfielder. And we were talking a little about it in... We were talking a little bit about it in the Discord the other day. If you're not in the Discord, we were having this conversation. Renoso was bringing it up. And I still stand firm on the fact that Elliot Anderson and Adam Wharton are going to be two players that, right off the basis of it, are going to be difficult to get. Because I think that there's going to be a few clubs interested, big clubs. Specifically, I don't know who, but it could be anybody. I mean, if Chelsea decide they want to jump in for that, they can. Maybe Manchester City want to jump into those things. Maybe Liverpool jumps into it as well. And then obviously we're going to be there. And then there's probably going to be some other clubs that, we're not thinking of right now at the time. We, as it is right now, in my opinion, we are already a little bit, we don't stand toe-to-toe with them because of how our club has gone over the last 12 years, what has happened over the past couple years. So it is urgently important, and I've been saying this, that we need to get, specifically, I think, we get Champions League football, we probably go up a little bit more on the playing field, and it gives us a way better chance. If you want those guys, if you think those are the guys to get. I think Baleba still stands in the corner of the most likely because Baleba seems to be like Cunha and Mbeumo, where he, it's been reported he doesn't care if we're even in Europe. He wants to just come to Manchester United. So, but in terms of selling a project and beating out competition, that would be Adam Warren and Elliot Anderson. And we need that Champions League. Maybe with the Europa League, maybe we could sneak it because, we still are Manchester United to a certain degree, and we still do have a little bit of name recognition, brand recognition, a little bit of pull. But as we've seen with somebody like maybe Semenyo, where they're like, listen, Manchester City is guaranteed to play you in the Champions League. You never have to worry about them not being in the Champions League. You could probably even say the same for Arsenal. You could say the same for Liverpool because they've been doing that for, over the past 10 years now. So that's where the big key difference for me is. And that's where we need to, sort of level up. So I don't like that the club keeps pushing PR about, the summer, because it just echoes a little bit to me like last season, kind of how we put everything into one basket for the Europa League because we needed the Europa League to get into the Champions League, and it was going to be massive for us, and then we failed to get it. And obviously I still have worries about that because I don't think the fans and I don't think people should be getting carried away that we're going to have this maybe massive summer. And this is one of the updates that we got, is that I think it was Ben Jacobs was saying that he expects United to have a very serious, massive summer. And I'm like, okay, that's great, but we need to get into a European spot because we know these people. And if we don't get into a European spot, I mean, I would expect them to still try and do something, but then I would also expect them to start pushing out things like, well, we don't have the money and, we're more limited and maybe we have to rely on more sales. But with Casemiro going, I mean, you are freeing up 350,000 a week. I think it's lower though because we're not in Europe, so I think it's about 300 to 275,000 a week right now. But obviously, if we went back into Europe and he stayed on his current contract, it would be 350,000 a week. That is a massive amount of money, and that does free up a lot. And going forward, we have to see what happens with Bruno Fernandes as well. We've been talking about this a lot. There's Bruno Fernandes. There's question marks over him. He's apparently got a release clause. This might be his last season. I worry a little bit in those terms because you guys know me, and I advocate for we have to upgrade. We have to move forward. We got to get new things and new players and people that are going to add to the future and to the building of the squad. But at the same time, I think there's an important factor that goes on there that if you lose Casemiro and you lose Bruno in the same window, as so to speak, or the same summer, I have a bit of a fear because those are two sort of big, important players with a certain level of experience and a certain level of ability. And you would hope whoever we get can sort of fill the gap. But there's always, as we've seen, just because you play in Premier League, just because you do well somewhere else, doesn't mean it's necessarily going to go swimmingly for you at Manchester United. And I feel a bit concerned about that. I feel a bit concerned with Casemiro going and potentially Bruno going. I think it's two big, massive changes. Bruno is our captain as well. And I just fear that it might not be the best for us if that was to happen, because it could be very rocky. It could be very turbulent. You take a little bit, look a little bit. I know we're not at the same necessarily level in terms of the project, but you look a little bit at Manchester City, you look a little bit at Liverpool. They've lost some sort of players that they were successful in their team, that were sort of pillars in their team. And they bring in all these other, shiny new toys, but they've been struggling, And we are not in the, for me, I don't feel like we're in the strongest position. So it's like there's still a bunch of uncertainty. There's still a bit of shakiness. There's still a bit of, we're just not, we don't have that super strong foundation. You don't have a super strong foundation. You rock the boat a little bit. the boat can sink. And obviously we don't want that. So, Lucky says, breaking news, Toby Collier and Harry Almon's going on loan to championship clubs. Yep. I had to take a sip. I ate something spicy right before I came online, and now I'm dying of thirst. Yeah, we'll talk about that. That happened the other day. Harry Almos went to Norwich. So they took him out of Sheffield, and Sheffield Wednesday aren't doing well anyway. They're probably going to get relegated. And I made a joke saying that, they're going to get relegated with our boy, but they were already not doing well with him there, and he was doing actually good there. So, and Toby Collier has gone on loan as well. So, to Hull City, and we wish them best, and hopefully it goes well, especially for Toby Collier, because he's sort of at that age where he's got to make it or it's over. So I think he's just recovered from his injury. Hopefully he stays fit, and hopefully, his loan goes well there as well. Lawrence says City unlikely to get Ward now, so he's more likely than Anderson. Well, why is that? Simon says, I see Sancho scored the only goal in the match tonight to put Villa in the last 16. Oh, good for him. He's not our player anymore. Eventually, Bruno will go. He won't be like Shaw and stay for a long time. Other clubs will be screaming out for him. Can you see Bruno playing for Bayern alongside Keane? I mean, yeah, why not? I think he could play. I think he could play for Bayern Munich, no problem. I could see it could happen. I think Bruno is still a very good player, and I know Bruno will leave eventually. But I'm talking about in the process of building squads, you don't necessarily want to lose two major people while you're actually in the middle of trying to build the team, while you're actually trying to make progress forward, because that's sort of two steps back. So I would like it to be staggered. I mean, if Cass is going to go, I would like Bruno to stay, for at least another year, so that we can get in whoever we need in the midfield, and it'd be like less hectic, and less, less of a margin for error, so to speak. But, football is football and shit happens. So, whatever happens, we've got to deal with it. But there was an update that said that, United were looking to hold discussions with Bruno Fernandes, and they do want him to stay for another year. So, if that's true, I mean, it's good that the club are sort of taking into account what Bruno said. And, if they do value him and they do want him to stay, well, it's important to make that known now and not, sit on our ass and wait last minute, like we've sort of done in the past with some players, where they didn't feel like they were really wanted anymore because the club didn't really pay them enough attention. And then they ended up making a decision to leave, and then United tried to negotiate or try to talk to them about it, and they were like, I already made up my mind. So, Bruno will score goals in the World Cup, something he is lacking in the Prem right now. I think Bruno will be fine. I think Bruno will be fine going forward for us. Again, I think if you look at the last match, I don't even care if he doesn't score. The way he played that position, the way he facilitated, if he does that every game, I'll be more than happy. Now, obviously, he could add some goals along the way, but I listen, Bruno Fernandes scores goals, he gets assists, he has periods where he might not score, but he always comes back and does score for us, so I'm not worried about Bruno. I think Bruno will be totally fine. I think Bruno will score goals for us before Bruno Fernandes will score goals before we get to the World Cup. And he'll be doing it for us, so. But, oh boy. I'm just trying to find these updates. So, obviously, after Casemiro's announcement, Rich Fay has come out and said Elliot Anderson is the top target, with major wage savings potentially helping to fund a marquee signing. Again, I would put a warning label on that because we need to do our job in the rest of the season, and we need to get into Europe. We need Europe money. I know that's massive, and maybe we could still do it, but I think there's a lot of different factors. We need to be attractive for him, the more the better. I mean, if we have Champions League to offer up, that's huge positives for us. Casemiro going, it's freed up some money. We'll get money from Champions League. We'll get money from a decently good finish in the table in the Premier League, and it'll make it life way easier for us. So, I don't like so of these updates because they speak in a way where it's like almost straightforward, where it sounds almost 100% certain, and it's not 100% certain. And I think sometimes people they bite into that and they think that it's 100% going to happen, and then when it falls apart for whatever other reason, then people are extremely disappointed and then angry. But another update that we got was Manchester United remain interested in Bournemouth's Alex Scott, who is on their midfielder shortlist. So that's another name, and he has been mentioned before. Sky has just reported about an hour ago, and this is another midfield update, but one that is, in our house, I guess, right now, is that Manchester United are set to open contract talks with Kobbie Mainoo. And that is an excellent piece of news because we need to settle this story. We should be giving him a contract extension. He should be staying here. I'd advocated for him to stay here, even though I wasn't really necessarily 100% in his corner over Ruben's time, but I was never 100% against him either. I'm kind of tired of the story because this contract thing has been talked about for at least the past 2 seasons or so. And I just want to put that behind us. I want to give him the contract, have him signed, have it be that he's staying here and that we move forward. So he looks all set to stay now, and hopefully him and United can come to an actual agreement and just put that behind us and let the kid focus on his game. Let the kid grow and develop and contribute to the team, So now, the other day we did have there's a bunch of different updates, but the other day we did have one update, and we did half a show about apparently Wilfred Ndidi and Ruben Loftus-Cheek. We got another update about Ndidi. There was an update yesterday about Ndidi. We weren't live, but it was that United were offered Ndidi, but they haven't made any move for it. That they don't seem that interested in it. Thank God. And the same was for Loftus-Cheek. Now, this update has come out 47 minutes ago saying Manchester United have been informed of Wilfred Ndidi's terms and see him as one of 3 midfield options. A loan deal with the £12 million buy option is being considered. I'm telling you now, I don't want this signing. I think this signing is... It's nothing against him personally, but with the way this club has operated in the past, with the way this football club likes to do things, I don't trust the football club. The football club will take this signing and parade it like they've done something of some sort of significance. And I don't believe that signing is some sort of significance. I think that is like the barest of minimum of a thing that you could possibly do. And I look at it and I'm like, that is a player that maybe like a Bournemouth would sign or something. Some team that's sitting in 10th, sitting in 12th, would sign him. Okay, he was here. He played for Leicester. He's not in the Premier League. He's playing in Turkey. There's a reason for that. Okay, there's a reason why he's not still at a Premier League club. And for them to go and bring him in on loan and then potentially buy him for £12 million, I know this club. They'll spin it into some PR shit that they've done something of some sort of significance and we should be happy with that. And they'll tell us, it's one of the signings, and then maybe they'll go and do like Baleba or something or whatever it is. And that's not good. And he's 29 years of age. I find it a bit weird because it doesn't really fit into what Ineos have been doing. It's well above the age that they go about. It's 26 or younger. And obviously, when you compare him to the other options like Baleba, like Wharton, or like Elliot Anderson, it's night and day. So, sorry, I missed the chat. I am hoping that Casemiro will score against Arsenal. Well, We'll see. I don't care who scores against Arsenal as long as we score and we win the game. Let's see what happens, though. Renault says, can't be alarmed when a 10 isn't scoring, but we are playing well. It just means he's doing other shit. And that's how I always feel, Bruno. So, because there was a large part, since Bruno's been here, where if Bruno doesn't score or if Bruno doesn't assist, we don't win. And I think if we're playing well and we're getting results, and Bruno's doing okay, but he's not putting the ball into the back of the net, I don't think it's a big problem. I think it's fine, because that means that everybody else is picking up the slack or they're doing their job. And we don't have to rely so much on Bruno Fernandes. And just as somebody just told me, Bruno will eventually leave. So our team needs to learn how to do this. And, there's been a large period of time since he's been here where they have not learned how to do this. My father has sort of a similar criticism that he always says to me, is like, when Bruno plays like shit, we play like shit. And I'm like, yeah, but it's not Bruno's fault. Like, that's not his fault. Like, that just means that the team ain't good enough. And it's certainly been the case at some points, but right now there's a potential that, the love is sort of being spread around. And, we got players like Mbeumo, and Cunha came on and looked fantastic. And Diallo's been playing well as well. And then there's Bruno in there as well. So, and, Sesko scored 2 goals before he wasn't played. But, hopefully Sesko joins the party and joins the fun. And that's another player we could add to that bank. And Dorgu's been playing really good. As of late, and he's been enjoying his time as a midfielder, so as a winger. So yeah, I think we just got to see what happens. City will get Anderson, so I think we'll spend 17 or 20 million on Neves. But listen, I think Neves might be a better option than Wilfred Ndidi. But I don't think that they can necessarily fool this fan base into this is the thing. They're playing the game, okay? Because they keep giving us these updates, and we keep getting these updates. It's Baleba, it's Warden, it's Anderson. These are the updates we keep getting, and they keep talking about the summer, and they keep talking about how it's going to be massive and how we're going to do this massive thing for the midfield. If you buy us Ruben Neves and you don't get Elliot Anderson, and then you try to do nothing, nobody is taking Ruben Neves and saying, yeah, that's fine. It always has to be Ruben Neves plus one of those 3. So if you're not getting Elliot Anderson, well, it's got to be Ruben Neves plus Baleba. And if it's not Ruben Neves plus Baleba, it's got to be Ruben Neves plus Adam Warden. And if it's Ruben Neves plus some random midfielder, maybe like an Alex Scott, well, then I think the club is stupid, because this is what I'm talking about. They're promising us the world. And then some people are like, listen, it's fine, we don't get anybody in January, we got our targets in the summer. The summer comes around, and then we don't get those targets, and we get other targets, and then we're just left there, just saying, well, what the hell has happened? He is playing well, he is. Even before Christmas, there was talks about Maino leaving, even from the man himself. Maino let his feet now do the talking. I think indeed he could go to Liverpool or a smaller side. I don't even think Liverpool would bother. I don't think Liverpool would bother getting Wilfred Ndidi. I would be surprised if Liverpool end up going for Ndidi. I think Liverpool. I don't think any other top 6 club would actually sign Wilfred Ndidi or Ruben Loftus-Cheek. So if we're gonna do that, that's why I think it's a disgrace. Because I don't see Chelsea doing it. I don't see City doing it. Arsenal wouldn't do it. I don't believe for a second Liverpool would do it. So if we end up doing it, we want to be a big club, but the people that run our football club, they want to run us like a small football club for money. I don't know what you're saying. We usually have an age range for players. So far, we do. Which is why I don't know if this deal is going to happen. I don't know if I necessarily believe that they're going to do it, but Ineos have done stranger things, and this football club has done shit deals like that in the past. So we just got to wait and see. Baleba is the cert for the summer because he wants United. Well, that's what I think. That's what I think. But I don't know. I don't know in terms of the football club which one they are actually prioritizing, because I think it might not necessarily be Baleba, but they do have 3 different options. And if they, like, let's just play a scenario. Let's just say they all decide that Elliot Anderson is number 1. And they go for Elliot Anderson, but we don't get him. Well, there's always a fallback for Baleba, because he wants to come to United. So, I mean, I think it's smart. You know, it's not like Sancho 2.0, where it's just like, oh, we're only going to go get Elliot Anderson, and then we don't get him, and we don't have a plan. But I think that does go into a bit of our pocket, like our back pocket, that it's like, well, we know that Baleba will come to us no matter what. But does that mean that he's automatically number 1? Or is it just an option that we say, well, this one's a bit more guaranteed, but let's try and get the other one because we prefer the other one. And if we miss out on the other one, we'll go to him. I can't believe my mic picks up all that noise. It's not supposed to. Now, there's been a couple other updates. So let me discuss these. One of them is Marcus Rashford. This came from Ben Jacobs earlier in the day. Marcus Rashford is keen on a move to Barcelona, and the interest is mutual. Recent direct talks have taken place, with Barca exploring a deal below the €30 million purchase option, and also considering a season-long loan as an alternative. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Well, I haven't actually said this directly, but what I will say is, and if this is a bit too blunt for you, I apologize, but I've had it up to here with this club. Fuck Barcelona, okay? Fuck them. I'm tired of them. I'm tired of their bullshit. All right? You made a deal with us for 30 million. Don't come crying you're broke and poor now, okay? He's done well for you. You want him. We have an agreement. I don't understand why you're looking to do this bullshit. Well, I understand why, because they want a penny pinch. They want to pretend like they're still broke, and I think they're playing an act, okay? I don't believe that they don't have money. I think they're full of shit. Okay? And so much so that it pissed me off last time, because when I read the story that they were asking Robin Lewandowski to literally not score goals in competitions for them, so they didn't have to pay a bonus to Bayern Munich, is a fucking joke. So if you don't have the money, go do something else or sell players, you know? Operate like everybody else. If you don't have money, figure out how to raise it. Sell some academy players or something. You know, I don't know what to tell you. But I don't think Manchester United should not succumb to these demands. I think we have a deal for 30 million. We should not take anything lower. I think it's already a bit on the low side, and it's on the low side because of his wage. But if you want him, pay for it. If you don't want him, then fuck off. End of story. Like, you know, I'm tired of these guys. I'm tired of these updates coming out, and they keep saying Rashford wants to go to Barca, and Barca want him, but they don't want to pay the 30 million that they agreed to initially when they first got him in for a loan. And it's not even like he's done bad or anything. It's not even like he's done mediocre. He's done well for them. So in what world does Manchester United not get the money that they made an agreement for when we send a player on loan and they do well? That doesn't happen. In fact, actually, usually the opposite happens, in where we would probably pull out and be like, no, we want a higher fee because he's actually done really well. So we don't want 30 million. Give us 40 now. These guys are trying to swindle everybody. And I don't fucking like that. I don't like that at all. Glazers out, fan. No surprise Marcus Rashford loves Spain. Go any Atletico Madrid or Barca. No. Marcus Rashford does not like Spain. Marcus Rashford likes Barcelona. Okay? It's a big club by name and accomplishments and history. All right? And he doesn't have many other options to go to. Like, in terms of a big statured club like that. Because Real are not going for him. And you can try and go somewhere else in England, but I don't think he wants to do that. So, and I don't think they're that interested in him. So, there are other clubs that would take him, but when you compare them, like for example, there was Borussia Dortmund at one time. Well, compare the stature of Borussia Dortmund to Barcelona. They're not the same level of club. So, Marcus doesn't want to go to a Borussia Dortmund. He thinks it's sort of beneath his level. For his, brand, whatever you want to call it. He wants Barcelona because it's an iconic club. And Barcelona, says Reynoso, no, we are desperate to sell to make our own signings. Well, that's part of the problem, but we shouldn't show that desperation. And listen, I don't think we're necessarily that desperate, like in terms of the only thing that's screwing us over here is that they obviously know we don't want him back. And because he's on an extremely high wage, it's not like there are, 10, it's not like Kobe. There's not 10 clubs lining up for him. And there's only, most of the clubs, nobody wants to pay his wage, which is a bit of an issue because he's willing to lower his wage for Barca. Wasn't willing to lower our wage for us. Wasn't willing to lower his wage for anybody else. But he'll lower it for Barca. And this is where I think that the people at our football club have to have some balls. They got to put their foot down, and they need to play some games as well, okay? You can't be pushovers, and you can't be soft. Play games. Fuck with them. Threaten all types of shit. Because I think it's a disgrace that they're even trying to do this, okay? I believe in sort of, a mutual respect of words, and you agreed to a deal, you agreed to a contract, you agreed to a fee, and now you want to swindle your way out of it. I don't have any respect for that. So as far as I'm concerned, they could go fuck themselves. And if Marcus wants to give us a hard time, then he could fuck off too. All right, like if he wants to like play a game where he's like, I literally won't sign for any other club than Barcelona, and he's gonna make it difficult. Well, then he could fuck off too. All right. Simon says Lewandowski scored an own goal in his previous match. Then he scored an actual goal for his club. Reynoso says it's like two broke people at a restaurant waiting to see who's going to put the appetizer on the table. Ineos and Barcelona. Marcus Rashford wants to stay Spain, play top team. Listen, he will not go to Atletico Madrid. He won't. He wants Barcelona and only Barcelona. He's made that quite clear. From the time we were trying to get him out, he only wanted Barca. He never looked at anywhere else. He doesn't want to go anywhere else. Now listen, if Barca go to him and say, we don't want you, well, he doesn't have much of a choice then. But as long as Barca keep telling him, we would like you to stay and we're interested in you, then Marcus doesn't care about anything else. Atletico Madrid can come and offer him double the wage that he'll get at Barca. He's going to pick Barca every day. So, Barca pays Rashi's wages, not the country itself. Well, yes. No, he's willing to take a further pay cut. Cash says, finally Uncle Casse leaving, but I'm not fully relieved until Ugarte, Maguire, Dalot, Xerxes leaves. By the way, I heard we are bidding for Valverde, 120 million. I hope it's right. We need statements. I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true. I don't. I mean, I didn't see that. I don't know where you heard that. But I didn't see that, but I don't buy that for a second. I don't think Real Madrid will let Valverde leave. Unless Valverde decides he wants to leave. But I don't think that's going to happen. Rash is thriving at Barca. Exactly. So they should pay the money. Team talk. I don't know. I don't really believe that. I don't really believe when they say things like that. I don't really believe that when they say things like that. I think Valverde is a very excellent player. Now, listen, Real Madrid could get rid of him, but they've done stories like that in the past. They've tried to do it to Vinicius. Maybe Vinicius leaves, but it's very hard to go and take a player out of Real Madrid if there isn't some sort of problem or issue. So I don't really know Valverde's situation, but as far as I know, I don't think there's any actual problems there. So, and also we're then gonna go spend 120 million on him. You know what about Elliot Anderson? What about Adam Warden? What about Baleba? You know, we're gonna forget about that now because Valverde's there. I don't think that's real. Grace is here. Hi, Grace. How you doing? How you feeling, Grace? By the way, have you recovered from your head injury? Are you better? Are you feeling better? Eric, that's interesting. Only Barca. Well, listen, he's made it abundantly clear. I mean, from the time we went to go loan him, there was 3 other clubs on the table trying to get him on loan, and he refuted all of them, and he only wanted Barca. He only wanted Barca. And I'm telling you why he only wanted Barca, because it's an iconic club. And when you leave Manchester United, which is another iconic club, there's only a couple places that you could go to if you're looking for that sort of match. And one is Real Madrid. The other one is Barcelona, outside of England. And, you know, if he wants to be a traitor, he could go to fucking Liverpool. I don't think he would do that. I think he still has some respect for Manchester United, some love, for sure. But in terms of iconicness, I mean, if Real Madrid don't want you, and Barca do, I mean, that's your option, really. Rashford, yeah, he did that. PSG wait for Rashford. Well, listen, I don't know if people go there either, but maybe. I think, as I said before, as long as Barca keep telling him, we want you to stay, we like you here, then I think Marcus is going to want to stay at Barca. If Barca ever tell Marcus, yeah, we're not going to keep you, you know, we don't have any interest in you, then Marcus has to do what Marcus has got to do. So then if a PSG comes for him or whatever it is, then he's got to make the decision on what he's got to do. But as long as Barcelona keep relaying to Marcus's people that they would like him to stay at the football club, then Marcus ain't looking anywhere else. Grace says, I'm all good. What you talking badly about? Delo probably. No, not Delo. We're not talking about Delo. We're talking about Marcus. We talked a little bit about Casemiro before. And we've been talking about Wharton, Baleba, Anderson. I'm talking badly about Barcelona, Grace. That's what I'm doing. I'm talking about badly about Barcelona because we keep getting updates, Grace, that keep saying that Barca want to keep Marcus Rashford and Rashford wants to stay at Barcelona, but Barcelona don't want to pay the 30 million that they agreed in the deal for the loan, and that they're trying to either get it paid lower or they want to take another loan. And I'm done with Barcelona and their fraudness. So, as I've always said for multiple people and multiple different transfers, put the money up or shut up. You know? Apparently, Pep wants Wharton, Slot wants Anderson, and no one expects us. No one except us wants Baleba. It's clear who we will be getting in the summer. Neves is free. Who else we can get? Stiller, Aguame, Gomez, Kone. Well, listen, again, I don't think that necessarily. I think there's a lot of different factors. Like I said, in the beginning, some of you weren't here. Wharton and Anderson, as it stands right now, will be the more difficult one. So Cash is right about that. And obviously we all know about Baleba. He's the easier one to get. And he has an affection for us. So it's a positive for us. But that doesn't mean that it's totally 100% dead. If we manage to get Champions League football, if we manage to finish in that position, it's a massive help for us. And we could potentially end up getting Wharton or Elliot Anderson because of that. It could be a difference maker. It could be. Now, we could also still not get them. They could still go to respectively whatever other clubs, you know, City or Liverpool, whatever it is. Could still very well happen. But I just think if you say we have a 20% chance of getting them right now, whatever percentage you want to put on it. I'm just using it as an example. But if you say we have a 20% of chance of getting them, if we get Champions League, it's got to be at least 30, 40%. It's got to go up something, which as a betting man myself, I'll take 30 to 40% over 20% any day. So we'll see. I don't think anything's necessarily set in stone. I think there's a lot of implications. And this is why I've been saying that the club should be doing something of significance to give us a better, in January, to give us a better put, to almost guarantee us, to a certain extent, Champions League football. I think is that important. It was very important to us last season. We failed to get it. We could have done more in January. We didn't do more in January. We actually got left a little bit shorthanded. And, Carrick's here. And it's still unknown. Listen, he did very well his first game. Still unknown. Still another four months of football. We have no clue what's going to happen. Could go horribly. He could have had the best game he's ever had, and it could go horribly wrong. We could get a couple injuries. Squad's looking a bit light. Squad's looking a bit decimated. We could drop a bunch of points. So Rashi should have ignored Villa and went to Barca instead. Well, he kind of did do that after. Rashi's another Anthony Garner in the making. I don't care. Well, as far as I'm concerned, he's not really our player anymore, right? Grace says, I know we want big names, big prices, but we need to be sensible. Overpaying for someone is just stupid. I don't think we necessarily should. We shouldn't be overpaying, Grace. And they don't have to, for me, they don't have to be the biggest names in the world. Okay? But they need to, there has to be a level where, again, like you tell me Ndidi for 12 million, that ain't the level that we need. You know what I mean? And that's like, I don't need to see us spend 100 million on one player, but the player that we get has to have the ability to sort of match the price. It has to be of some sort of level. You know what I mean? Like it has to be some sort of like decently good level. I don't think you necessarily have to break the bank. You don't have to go crazy. You don't have to necessarily spend 120 million on somebody. But on the flip side, you can't then just go and spend 25 million or 20 million or get somebody for free and say it's the same shit. So it's got to be, for me, I think what we were doing before, 60 million, around the 60 million mark, I think is a good price. I think you could still get good players for 60 million mark. And I think the club should be looking to find, like I've been saying, more Sene Lemonses. We got him for a good price, and he's been good in other positions. But we probably do need some sort of a marquee signing, though. At least one, probably in the midfield. We do probably need a marquee signing. If we can get somebody like, listen, Declan Rice was worth 100 million, right? I mean, if you could do something like that, a player out there that's worth that money, whether it's 80 million, 70 million, but somebody that's going to pay that money back, somebody that's actually worth that money, then I think it's fine. But Neves and Ederson are smart signings, says Grace. Well, listen, I don't have a problem with Neves. I think Neves could be a good addition. And again, if we're going to be in Europe, we're going to need to build out the squad. The problem that I have is with the football club because I don't trust them. And I think they'll try and pass off Neves as some like world-class signing or something. And then, they'll tell us it's good enough and that they don't have to do, the things that they've been promising to us. Because this is the thing, like they're promising us some major buys for the midfield that's going to transform our team, that's going to be for, the next 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. And then you go get Ruben Neves, and then you get like Alex Scott, and you say, well, here's your brand new midfield. Enjoy. And they've done it for a fraction of the budget because that's what they like to do. And then, it gives us less confidence. Like, I think there's a bigger potential maybe that doesn't work well if they do something like that. So, I don't see the point of Neves after January. He's not much better than Ugarte. Well, I don't know. I mean, I think he was pretty good when he was in the Premier League, but I don't watch the Saudi League, so I don't know how good he is still. But he's decent. He's still decently good age as well. So Ugarte was a waste of money. Yeah, but listen, those things are gonna happen. But at least with Ugarte, if you were to sell him, you could still get back a decently good amount of money. We didn't pay 100 million for Ugarte. And we could. He still has a decently good age, and his wage isn't crazy or anything. So we could resell him and recoup that money. You know, it's not like the other deals. It's not like Sancho for 80 million. It's not Anthony for 80 million. It's not it's not like that. So it's a bit different. Cash says, let's say we have the same budget like last year, or maybe 100 million more if we get Champions League. Then what all positions and how many you get? Please consider we have to play Champions League, Premier League, FA, and Carabao. Also, it's a World Cup year. Well, I mean, it kind of depends. If we sell Ugarte, we need to get 2 midfielders. For sure. Maybe even 3. If you get rid of Ugarte, because we're asking for one right now, and we have the players that we have. So if we're going off of that logic, we need one now with the players we have. Well, that's one by itself. And then people say they want 1 to 2. The club's been saying 2. Some people have been saying 2. If you want 2, that means we need 3. Especially if we sell Ugarte, then we need 3. It's 3 signings. Now, listen, if one of them is a free signing, like if it's Neves is a free signing, as the third, okay. Still got to do a significant thing, significant business, spending money on it, and we don't really necessarily have to touch the attack, do we? Because we just redid it. So it's all in the midfield. It's all in the defense. Is this summer should be all in the midfield and all in the defense. People will say we need a right back. People will say we need a left back. People will say we'll need a center back. So I don't know, but for sure, guaranteed, the midfield has to be taken care of, and then I would assume whatever's left of the budget, whatever you could do, pick one center back, left back, or right back, and get a player in one of those positions, and then move forward from there. Maybe a winger too. I don't know. I mean, if we're gonna play, a 4-2-3-1, a 4-4-2, whatever it is, maybe we need a winger as well because we need a little bit more depth. And if Xerxes goes as well, it's a bit harder. It's a bit harder to say exactly what we should get when you don't know exactly who's leaving, because obviously that makes the picture a bit more clearer. So I could be way more specific if we had examples laid out. Like if you tell me Xerxes going, we know Cass is leaving, if you tell me Ugarte's gone for sure, if you tell me Bruno's going, then obviously we could be way more specific in what we obviously need. But the Carrick picture is really funny. Big up to have it on stream, but we can have Voodoo Manager on the right side as well. Well, I found this on the internet after the win, and I put it up in one of the show after, and then I was just like, you know what? He's just gonna stay here for now. Hopefully it brings us some good luck, Grace says, I think Wharton, Baleba, and Anderson are overrated because they play in the Premier League. They are still so raw. Well, I don't think they're I wouldn't say, listen, I think maybe the hype around them is a bit overrated, but I think that they are I think they're good players. And if you look at their statistical data, listen, I'm not big on statistics, but if you look at their statistical data, there is some very good attributes that they do and play, and they do play in the Premier League. So, and I'm still in belief that we do need to do a little bit like that. I mean, again, I sort of look back to when City first started, they were poaching all the people, and it was a different time, so I think it was maybe a bit easier for them to do it, and there was still clubs that, and we did it as well, and under Fergie at times. I don't think we did it to the extent that City did it, but we did it as well. I mean, we used to go around in the Premier League and poach players and bring them to us, and that used to work quite well for us, right? And I think we still need a little bit more of that. I think Cunha and Mbeumo, sure, and then I think we could get another one or two, which could be any one of them. They are still raw, though. I mean, Wharton is young, and Elliot Anderson is young as well, 21, I think. 21, 23, 21. And Baleba, how old is Baleba? 23? 22? So, I mean, they are young, and maybe we do need a balance at the very least, Grace. Maybe we need to get, one of them, and maybe we do need a Ruben Neves for a little bit of experience. A little bit of, a little bit older, just to balance things out, because they are a bit young, they are a bit raw, and then you have to adjust life to Manchester United as well. I also heard Ndidi on loan with an obligation for 12 million. Yeah, I mentioned that before you came in here. Kind of deals Glinios might go for, can't handle shit players anymore. Yeah, I know, and this is what I'm saying, Cash. Like, that to me is a disgrace. Like, I'm not a person. Listen. Would I love United to be football manager and go spend like 150 million on like the best player in the world? Sure. But at the same time, like, that's why I just say it has to be a certain level. Like, I don't say like the club, if you don't spend 120 million on a midfielder, it's a disgrace. But you also then can't go and get me 12 million pound loaned Wilfred Ndidi, who's washed in the Premier League. And then try and pass it off as like, something that like it's good or something, like it's of some sort of significance. So, yeah, I mean, listen, if they do that deal, I'm going to be pissed. So, oh yeah, Forest is playing Braga right now. Penn saved in the Forest match after Gibbs White took it, but Forest are 1-0 down with a Yates own goal. Neves can pass forward pretty well, which Ugarte cannot. Ugarte can cover ground, though. Neves cannot. Well, yeah, I think maybe Neves is a bit slow, isn't he? Neves would be closer to a like with Casemiro. I think so, probably. Probably. We still need another striker. Actually, you know what? You made a good point. I forgot about that. We do. And especially if Xerxes goes. Now, listen, I don't know. Maybe you supplement that with, there's always a couple different things you could do. Obviously, one's probably a better choice than the other. But as we just seen, I mean, Mbeumo just played striker, did he not? So, and we also do have Cunha. And I mean, where's Cunha? Cunha kind of came on in that position as a substitute as well. So, I mean, I know Sesko is the striker, like he's an actual striker. The other ones are a little bit less of an actual striker. But maybe you get a winger and then you supplement it for that. It could work, or maybe you just go get another striker. But we do have at least two guys besides Xerxes. We do have two guys that can technically play there. They would give us something different. They're different to Sesko. So maybe that's all we kind of need for there. And if you're going to do that, maybe we need another winger, because, there's Dorgu's there, and maybe Dorgu sticks there then. And then we have Ahmad, and then I guess interchange with Mbeumo. I don't know. So it's another summer where we need another 8 players. Well, we constantly need a bunch of players, right? So, but you have to prioritize. You have to prioritize what you need most, and then you gotta do it in waves and stuff. And this is why. And the thing is, Grace, like, this keeps happening to us because we also don't do business in January. Like, if we need 8 players, well, if we get 1 or 2 in January, well, now you don't need 8 in the summer. Now you need 6. But yeah, I mean, we're constantly playing a game of catch up. So we're constantly trying to catch up to people. They're already ahead of us. They're already better than us. So we have to constantly be trying to upgrade. So, and then you have to also take into account, like, what if players leave? Like, usually it's shit players that we want out of the football club, but we can't get them out. And it's like, in this case, well, Cass is leaving, and people will be fine with that because, he's up there in age and he's on a lot of money. But again, you need to replace his ability. You need to replace that. And if Bruno leaves, which, a lot of the fan base would not want Bruno Fernandes to leave, and he's one of our best players, if not our best player. And then it's like, well, now another hole has just opened up, And this is because we don't do what we are supposed to be doing as we're going along in the process. We don't properly do things, so we're constantly trying to catch up. And we're never going to actually catch up if we don't actually do what we're supposed to do. So that we need to get Champions League. I want Champions League. Champions League for me is the ultimate. It gives us the most money. It gives us the best pull, or makes us more attractive. It's the best possible scenario. You get Champions League. You get the money. Hopefully these clowns actually do what they're supposed to do. They go and buy a couple players. You fill out the midfield, maybe you get 1 or 2 defensive players, and then you go from there. Then we should be okay. If we're buying the proper player at the proper age, we shouldn't have to be touching these areas too much going forward. If they work out, if they're good deals, we shouldn't have to be doing this constantly. That should sort of be the end of it. Then we just need to tinker, one position here, one position there. Maybe one guy goes, one guy comes in. I think we need at least 2 center mids plus Neves, then 1 winger, 1 left back, 1 center back, minimum 5 signings. We lack depth, and maybe we're gonna raid the academy like the 92 season. Well, we probably do. Like, I don't even disagree with that, Cash. We probably do need something like that. And last summer I said we needed 5 signings. We got 4. And we probably need another like 4 or 5 signings. If you want us to be the level that everybody demands us to be, well, we need to be doing things like this. So, time to do some business in the window. There's only just over a week left. Yeah, I think if we're gonna do anything, it'll be like the day or two days before the window closes. It's right out of the Glazers playbook. Leave it till the very last minute. Make it look even bleaker than it already looks. Make it look like nothing's gonna happen. Come up with some half-ass bullshit so that some people enjoy the crumbs and say, yeah, we did something and there's no more time. So, we would like to do more, but, we just ran out of time. We ran out of time. We got you in Didi on loan. We would have loved to do another deal, but, we just ran out of time. We ran out of time. So, what can we do? Sorry, guys. What can we do? We would have loved to get you another signing, but, it's closed now. Sorry. Axe is here as well. I am behind in the chat. We need to upgrade, says Lawrence, on the likes of Neves and Modern 6 and Baleba to the box. Okay. I'm getting spam text messages. Lawrence says, Kobe could also play in Bruno's position, Cunha too. Then rumors of Mount being sold to Palace, so Baleba in a 6. If Ugarte is not a starter, he's more an 8, hence the interest in Anderson Warren. Well, that makes sense. I didn't see any rumors about Mount going to the Palace, though. I didn't see those. Liverpool forked out a lot on Wirtz and Isaac, and one is crocked, and the other is just only starting to pick up. Well, yeah. And that's the thing. Cunha will go Bruno Fernandes' position. Could very well be. Could very well be. We're all forgetting no manager slash head coach means we don't know the formation yet, so signing gets even more difficult. Most summer deals happen in April, May. Maybe in the end, Galinios will hire Carrick. Well, I think we do kind of know the formation because they've kind of made it clear, and I think if you say a 4-2-3-1, a 4-4-1-1, a 4-4-2 flat, they're all basically the same to a certain level of a degree. And I think that's what we're going to get. At least that's what we should get. But again, these people are stupid, and I wouldn't be remiss if they do something stupid and go get something that's not close to that. You know, what was the whole point in getting Ruben to play the 4-back if that wasn't where you were trying to transition or go back to? You know, so we don't know the specific manager, and that might be a bit of a problem. In terms of, obviously, whichever manager you get, they're obviously supposed to have some sort of say. They're supposed to have some sort of input. And, you know, one manager might want one player over the other player compared to a different manager. So that might make a bit of a difference. But this is why you need the football club to be run properly. Because it's like, at the moment, it's like, my thing is, Ineos, what the fuck do you want? What do you want? Do you want like a guy that's just like a coach? Do you want to make all the decisions? Do you want to tell him to play the formation and tell him, here are the players, we're signing them, now make them play good? Or do you want somebody that like has some level of experience that's going to bring that experience and expertise and is actually going to have some sort of a say, you know? Do you want kind of more like a puppet, or do you want somebody like more of a traditional manager? Because those things make difference. But I don't know what they want. I don't know what they want. You know, they tell you that they try to force a guy to play a certain way, and then they tell you that, yeah, we talked to him about transfers. Then they tell you that, oh, we don't have a manager, so we don't know who we can sign. But it's like, yeah, but what does that have to do with anything when you're telling him what to play and how to play? What, you know, what is the manager being there? If you're already stepping above the manager and you're having them play a certain way with the squad that we have, then why would it matter what manager we have? It doesn't matter. You should then know what players to go get. You should then go get the players, regardless of the manager, and get them into the team and build the squad. Manchester United will have to sign 3 midfielders this summer then. Well, I don't know. We'll see. With Vitek returning, we don't need another keeper. Well, I don't think we need another keeper anyway. For me, and listen, by the way, we have to remember, Onana is only on loan. So we need to try and sell him. You know what I mean? There's no buy option there. He's coming back to us at the end of the season. So we got to try and sell him. And yeah, I mean, there's Vitek. I think we have another guy, another kid. His name is like Elijah Harrison or something like that. So there's a couple young ones there. Maybe they sign, you know, some older goalkeeper. There's Biender as well. I think they got to get rid of Biender. They got to sell him. So I don't know what they're doing with that. But unless he just wants to stay as sort of the number 2 and not play. But maybe they sign some older goalkeeper that's just going to sit and be number 2. I think Vitek will probably end up going out on loan again. We will need a very good centered defensive mid next summer. UCL is a must. Well, yeah, to get that, sure, yeah. I agree. Cash says, when Kane left, we got Carrick. When Keane left, sorry, I said Kane. When Keane left, we got Carrick. When Carrick left, we got Pogba. Then for Pogba, we got Kase. We were degrading every time a centre mid left. Wow. Yeah, they're also a bit different as well. I mean, Keane is different to Carrick. Carrick and Keane are different to Pogba. Lyle's here as well. What's up, Lyle? We will be doing business on deadline day the way it is going. Yeah, I expect that to happen. I mean, I expect either nothing to happen, or I expect if we're going to do something, it's going to be one deal, and it's going to be literally like a day or two before the window closes, and it's typical Glazer playbook, like we've seen. Lyle says, super late. Thank you, Uncle Cassie. Never too late. As long as we're live, never too late, Lyle. But yeah, thank you, Uncle Cassie. Uncle Cass. And we look forward to see what he gives us for the rest of the season. You know what I mean? So I hope he finishes as strong as possible. I wish we could have gave him a better trophy than the ones that we gave him, but at least we gave him 2. You know what I mean? At least we gave him 2. At least we didn't give him absolutely nothing. So, where in the world is Leon is hiding? Wasn't he supposed to be a left back? We never try him. Let us see the player at least. Well, this is the thing though. But this is the thing. Like, people, Cash, not to have a go on you, but this is what people say. And my answer to this always is, they're clearly not ready. I mean, they signed Leon. They hyped the shit out of him. Right? And when I say they hyped the shit out of him, I'm talking about the club, because all the PR when we signed him, and then the fans bite into it, they hype him up, and he's come here and we haven't seen him. He hasn't played. So it's like, well, we got a signing that, sure, okay, fine, but like, he wasn't actually close to what we needed, was it? Because he's not ready. For me, it's like, I tend to believe more. It's not like they're perfect, but I think it makes it quite clear. Like, if you are that good, even if these people are not that great at their job, I mean, we've seen players like appear and pop up. The fact that Shea Lacey like came in and got a couple games, like, it's because there's something there, and when he comes on the pitch, we see it. If they're not even getting close to the team, well, that just leads me to believe that, well, they ain't very good right now, or they just ain't. That's what I mean by they're not ready. Like, they just ain't that good. But when we got that signing, the club hyped it up through the media. Fans hyped it up because they were like, we're signing some sort of a baller, like they do for everybody. And then the reality is, we signed somebody and he hasn't touched the pitch for us. And I don't know what's happening with him. So, oh my God, you guys are talking a lot. I didn't know you guys were talking this much. Whoever we get, please no more tenors. We have enough tenors. No, I don't think we're not getting tenors. If you mean tenors, if you mean by tenors like number 10s, we're not getting number 10s. If you're talking about tenors like cheap players, then we'll probably get some cheap players. City was a 4-2-1-3, would change a little if Sesko started. Let's see on Sunday, but I suspect Carrick likes that setup. I think Carrick might go with the same, because I think the match would probably pay out the same, and it's a little bit different as well because we are away from home. We're not home. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Listen, we know Arsenal are going to like to play possession. They're probably going to have most of the ball, so I feel like we're going to have to play in a similar way. And if we're going to have to play in a similar way, I would assume that we're probably going to see a similar lineup, if not the same lineup. So that's sort of what I'm expecting. Speaking of Onana, I wonder how goals Onana has conceded for so far. Don't care. Nothing against you, Simon. Don't care. For me, as far as I'm concerned, we should have found a way to permanently sell him. He needed to go. And as soon as you leave Manchester United, I don't care what happens to you. You're not our player, and goodbye. So I'm not one of those people. I don't follow people around. Even when Ronaldo left, I watched a couple Real Madrid games in the beginning, but and they had the Galacticos, so it was a bit different. But once you leave Manchester United, I mean, to a certain level, good luck to you, but I don't really care. Like, I'm not taking my time to go watch the team that you're on because you're on it now. Like Scott McTominay has gone to Napoli. I've never watched a Napoli game. Rasmus is there as well. Don't really care. You're not playing for us. Wish you all the best. Hope you do good, but I ain't wasting my time because I care about my football club. I don't care about individual players like that. We do need to get rid of the Turkish terror because if Lemons gets injured, then we are stuck with him. Bender is useful as a porthole on a submarine. Where's Casemiro going? Has not been announced yet, so we don't know where he's going. Has not said. I don't think he might not know. Maybe he has not necessarily made a decision. Maybe he's just, the decision is axed that he's going to be leaving Manchester United. He's going to go to the World Cup with Brazil, do the World Cup, and then after the World Cup, he'll look at his options, he'll see what's available, and then he'll make his choice. Maybe, I don't think he's necessarily made a choice. So, what's an Onana? That's what a shame there's no such player called Cagney, as he could pair up with Lazy. To me, says Reynoso, the hype, Kone and Lyon to fill voids in the transfer activity news because they aren't spending real money to rebuild the senior team. These signings may feature in the future or not, but they are also there for resale option, and they hype them to hype us up. Yeah. Bro, this is why, I like the youth players, and I love nothing more than I love nothing more than some academy player coming out of, getting the chance and then taking his chance and then, making a part of it, our team, the story of Kobe, even the story of Rashford. I love that. I love if it happens. I would like it to happen more. But at the same time, I don't really, until you actually get there, until you actually get to the first team, I don't consider you a serious option. I don't consider you a serious option. And I don't even consider I don't consider you are a viable option for us. Until I see you in the bench and maybe getting a few minutes and I watch you play for the first team and I watch you play first team football, you're not, I don't consider them. There's people that watch our youth teams and good for them. But they get some of them get way too overhyped because they see these kids balling out at under 21s, under 18s, and they're convinced they're superstars. But I always say those levels, and then to play against a bunch of men is totally different. And I don't work at Manchester United. I don't do the training. I'm not a coach. I have to entrust the people there. And if these kids are not getting involved one way or another, well, then the only conclusion I could come to is they ain't that good or they ain't ready. And so if you ain't that good or you ain't that ready, you ain't useful to us at the time that we need you. Maybe later on. And if it happens later on, great. But, I've done shows so many times. People talk about Saku Kone and this play and that play. And I'm just like, okay, cool. But where actually are they? Where are they? Why aren't they? If they're so good, because listen, we have one with Gabriel, yeah? Now, they keep saying that he seems to be this generational talent and he's very young. And I see it and I say, okay, cool. Hope that's the case. Now, I think he needs a little bit more time because he just turned, 17? And I hope it's true that he's generational talent, but we'll find out. Because if he's that good, they'll make the team. Especially our team. It's not like we're fucking stacked. It's not like we got Real Madrid players. We don't have Mbappe, Camavinga, and all these guys. Okay, so if you're actually that good, you should be able to get into the team. If you're not getting into the team, then I'm just like, well, then they must not be that good. But people don't like to hear that because, I don't know. I am glad to see the back of the bomb squad. I hope to see more of Heaven playing against Arsenal. Well, I don't think he's going to play, is he? The fact that we've gone to a 4-back, there's one less spot for the centre-back now, yeah? So, basically all we've got to go off of is the City match from Michael Carrick, but he went with Lisandro and Harry Maguire. I fully expect Lisandro and Harry Maguire to play again. And then it'll be interesting to see what happens when De Ligt is actually fit, because who's starting then? Who's starting then? Is it going to be Maguire De Ligt? Is it going to be De Ligt Martinez? Is it going to be Maguire Martinez? I mean, I have my preference, but I don't know. It'd be a bit interesting. We have one less spot there, and then you have Euro and you have Heaven. So the team has been reshuffled now, yeah, and things are changing because we've changed the shape, we've changed the formation. Even if they make it into the team, remember Makeda, and that's another good point, Axe. And you are right about that. And that is a good point. Even if they make it into the team, they can still ultimately fail. They can still ultimately not be good enough, even if they make it into the team. So, we need to produce youngsters. It's important to us. It'll help us in the squad building, absolutely. But this is why I don't like to have this obsession with youngsters, because I just look at it and I'm like, that to me is not a real viable option, especially for a club as our club, where we want to compete for the highest things and be super competitive and ultimately win these things. We need to nurture them and grow them. But we also need to be we need to be a real football club. We need to get in good players and build the team and then let these kids develop. It's I think people get a little bit lost as well sometimes. It's yeah, okay, by a certain age, maybe you have to do a certain level, but people feel I don't know, maybe because it's video games or something. It's oh, if you're not good, if you're not a certain level by the age of 19, then we discard you or something like that. Your career's over or some shit. It's it doesn't necessarily work like that. Players' prime in real life is 27 years of age. It could take you to 23 to become a very good player. Everybody's different. There's some players that come in the superstars from the time that they're 17, and those are the 1%. But everybody else is you could be excellent at 21, or you could become excellent at 23. And then you go into your prime. And then your prime is your best years, and that's when you should be the best of the best. Then after that, it's downhill. Scott McTominay. Yeah, Scott was a bit of a late bloomer as well. Scott coming out of the academy, the age that he came out, the age that he started getting his actual opportunities in the first team, he's considered a bit of a late bloomer. But I mean, even now, he's probably, he's in his prime right now. And he's obviously playing really good at Napoli, and he's had a really good time, but he's just basically hit his prime. He's just entered his prime, just started his prime. So, that could always happen. That doesn't mean that you're not a good footballer. I think there's also this weird obsession that everybody has to be some magnificent alien of a superstar that we've never seen before. They need to be the next coming of, whatever legend you want to say. And it's just they don't have to be, they don't have to be like that. They don't. They can still be very good. Just, it's all progress. But for right now, okay, I hope Sakou Kone is a baller. Yeah? And I hope Sakou Kone stays in our midfield for the next 10 years. But he's not the option for us right now, is he? So we need something right now. And it doesn't seem like he's the option for right now. It doesn't seem like he's there yet. So while we continue to work on him, getting to a period where we can actually use him in all levels of competition, high levels of competition, well, we got to go and get somebody that we can use. And ultimately, if you're going to make it, ultimately, if you're going to belong at Manchester United, ultimately, if you're that good, whoever we get, you should then be able to beat. You should be able to do better than them. That's, earn your place here. What is De Ligt's injury? Something with his back. Something with his back. I don't think they specifically said, but it's something with his back, and it's something that's been lingering, and it hasn't gone away, and it's taken way longer than it was supposed to. I don't know specifics though, but yeah, this is another one. Listen, De Ligt is a good player, and I think the signing was a good signing on paper, but he does tend to have these sorts of injuries. So far, what he's shown us since he's been here, he's had a few problems with this, and ultimately, I mean, he's not getting younger, he's getting older, but you you would like to mitigate that. Sometimes there's nothing you can do. Sometimes there's something that you can do that maybe lowers this type of shit happening. But I think it's a bit. I find it a bit shit because I think he's a really good player, and he's the sort of player that you want fit all the time. And when he's not fit all the time, it makes it shit because it's like, we need you fit, bro. We need you fit. We want you to be able to stay fit because you are important to us, and we need to rely on you. And we have no problem relying on you, but we can't rely on you if you're not fit. We can't rely on you if you were supposed to miss a game or two. And how many games has he missed now? Like, I feel like it's been like 6 games or something like that. It's crazy. Like 6, 7, 8 games. And we're playing once a week. So it's been like weeks. It's been like a month at least, over a month. I don't even know exactly. Maybe somebody in the chat could tell me, but I feel like it's been forever. New Rasmus Hoyland, Scott McTominay, bit too slow. Well, listen, listen, I've always said, just because it doesn't work for you at United, just because it doesn't work for you in the Premier League, doesn't mean you can't necessarily go and be a good player. And I think Italy, I always said that Scott would be fine in Italy. I think the game plays beautifully for him there. I think he's built for it. And Rasmus came from there anyway. Rasmus was already there, so it's not that much of a surprise. Simon says, anyway, guys, I'm off, have things to do. Thank you, Simon, for being here. Have a good night, Red Legends, and a fun Friday. We'll be back tomorrow, by the way, because it is Friday. So if you're around, come through. Same time as today, 8:15 p.m. UK. We will be there. But enjoy the rest of your day. Take care of the things that you got to do. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for being here, Simon. Always appreciated. You've been a great addition to the community. So, Lucky says, Kobe made a new contract now, $186,000. Bruno Fernandes, we don't want to leave 1-year extension, please. Nicotine gum is bad for your health, but you do you. Thank you. It's not gum, though. It's not gum. It's a Zin. Lyle says, I think he missed 10 games, 2 months out, and this is the Lit's longest injury layoff in 5 years, so it's a bit concerning. Yeah. So, coming up, if not past 2 months of the Lit injury, his injury record is suspicious. Well, yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's not great. Like, and we always have a problem, don't we? We always have a problem. Our club is notorious, and it flies under the radar until people, decide for it to not fly under the radar. But we always have a problem with injuries. Why is it that players come here and they either we either buy them injury prone or they become injury prone? What the fuck do we actually, how does that keep happening? And it needs to stop happening. Because that could cost us points at the end. I mean, De Ligt was playing well. He was playing really well. And listen, the matches where we had to play Lenny Yoro and Aiden Heaven, I mean, it's not ideal because Lenny was struggling. We didn't have Maguire. And listen, with Maguire, I can understand. Maguire's a bit older. He's older than De Ligt. He's on the older side. He's a big guy. Those guys tend to get a bit more injured just in general. Being like a sort of tall, lanky guy that he is, they tend to get more injured. So I can understand if Maguire goes missing for, 4 weeks or something. I can understand it. It makes sense. It's a little bit more acceptable. But De Ligt is like 24 or 25. Wait, 26? And like, yeah, we need him, and we could have used him in that period as well. And we were supposed to get him back, as far as we knew, because they were just like, yeah, he's going to be out for like, 2 games or something. And then like it turned into 3 and turned into 4. And then they stopped telling us when he was going to come back. And they're just like, yeah, he just has a problem that keeps lingering. And, he'll be back. And it's like, okay, well, like, not great. Not great. Prenosa says, hell yeah, Zin. Can we get sponsored by Zin? I'll do a Zin sponsorship. Need a little pick-me-up. And it's just like holding a can of Zin. Do you need a little shock to your brain? Take some lemon citrus Zin. What is it? What is it? What is it, says Axe? It's a nicotine pouch. It's a nicotine pouch. Lemon citrus Zin. Now available. Now available in the Red Devil Experience store. Use the promo code EXPERIENCED for 20% off on your next purchase of Zins at your local store. One day we'll get sponsors, maybe. Maybe. And if we do get sponsors, I make this promise to everybody watching. I'm not going to sponsor some bullshit, okay? Maybe I might have to take I might have to take it in the beginning, but really I would like to sponsor things that I think are actually good products, and I don't want to sponsor things that I think are shit. Or some bullshit. So maybe one day we get sponsors. But there was a couple other updates that we didn't get to talk to, but the conversation has been really good so far. So chat, keep it up. Loving it. But there was just like a couple pieces of news. So one of the pieces of news, we did talk about Bruno before. We were talking about the midfield. And this update came from Ben Jacobs as well. Listen, I'm trying to be a bit respectful here, but Ben Jacobs has kind of been pissing me off. A little bit, because he says a lot of shit, and he says a lot of things. Yeah, like he's been saying a shitload of things. And for the amount of things that he's saying, we need to create like a spreadsheet or something to track this, because he says a lot of things. And I'm just like, you've said some things recently that didn't really check out. And then you go and you say like a shit ton of updates. You give us like the whole Manchester United story. And it's just like, well, I don't know. Are you going out on Twitch too? Sponsorships. Unhealthy as hell, if you ask me, but okay. Well, I'm not asking you. Too late for coffee, but not for a Z, baby. Sponsorships. Are you going out on Twitch too? Listen, I was on Twitch at one time. I need to get back on Twitch. Yeah. The problem is, you know what I really wanted to do on Twitch? I really wanted to do, so it would be different from this, I wanted to play video games. And then whoever wants to chill and come hang out for the streams. The problem is that I don't really like any video games out right now. My whole life used to be EA Sports, aka FIFA, EAFC, but that game is so shit, and I hate it, and I don't play it anymore. So, and there's just not really any great games out right now. Maybe I'll make this promise. Maybe when Grand Theft Auto comes out, because I love Grand Theft Auto, yeah, and I know that's like another year, and it could be like, another 2 years if they push it back, which I hope they don't. But I think like a game like Grand Theft Auto, I'll stream the shit out of that, yeah? And I'll stream with, my friends that I play with, and they're all clowns, they're all jokesters. I think you guys would have a good time if you came in there as well. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I've been wanting to stream on Twitch, but it's just like, and I was thinking maybe I could stream on Twitch as well and just do something a little bit separate from, maybe it won't be Manchester United focused. Maybe we could just chill and talk about like different stuff, anything, life stuff, or we could talk football in general, more generally, stuff like that. But yeah, I've just been trying not to overload myself. I'm trying to get the channel to, get big. So clowns, jokers, Jupiritans. I wouldn't call them Jupiritans, okay? But yeah, they're a bit jokers. They're a bit of jokesters, okay? They say some stupid stuff. they act stupid sometimes, which is good. It's a fun laugh. It's good. It's not like anything like that. It's just, It's just acting like fools, saying things and doing stupid shit or whatever. So, but they're all good people. They're all good people. Multi-stream the same show for now. Yeah, I was thinking about doing that. I should do that. I need to get my shit together, Lawrence, if I'm gonna be honest with you. You know what I mean? I gotta get my shit together. So, but yeah, I should definitely be doing that. I was thinking about doing that, and I just never got to it. So, but maybe I'll do it in the next couple weeks. I gotta see how busy I am and set it up. Okay, you know what happened to me? I had on OBS, which is the thing that I stream off of, I had a Twitch setup. Like I had like a whole Twitch, thing. Like I had like the borders, I had, the camera layout. I had all of that set up. And then my hard drive or whatever, my computer fried, and I lost all that shit. And then when I rebuilt everything. And then I just never rebuilt the Twitch stream because I was just like, I'm gonna be honest, I was lazy. So I gotta not be lazy. And do it. But we got this weird link, by the way, because obviously Cole Palmer is a Manchester United fan. So there was this link saying that Cole Palmer might go to Manchester United. I don't buy that for a second. I don't think Chelsea would necessarily let that happen at this moment in time, and I don't think Cole Palmer's really pushing for it. But one of the updates that we did get was that Ben Jacobs saying that I'm not aware of Manchester United trying for Cole Palmer. It's clear he loved living in Manchester, but it's unclear if there has been a turning point in London where he's now unhappy. Chelsea don't want to sell, so it feels like a non-starter, which is what I think it is. And I'd be surprised if United made a move for another 10 following Mbeumo Cunha signings. That's also another very good point. So, Lawrence says, I remember your old overlays. Yeah, I mean, listen, I still have that other overlay, but that was for the green screen. You know what I mean? That was for the green screen. But I had like an actual Twitch overlay. Like I had a whole separate scene that was specifically for Twitch, and I was streaming. It wasn't I didn't connect it to this. But it was. I streamed a couple. I streamed a couple games. It wasn't a lot. I didn't do much, but I was trying to stream video games on that. I had it set up. I just need to set it. I probably, you know what? If I find some time today or tomorrow, I'll probably just reset it just to have it, and then I'll see, if something happens. Because I'm not even, to be honest, like I'm not even playing video games right now. Like, and it kind of sucks because I like to play video games, but nothing excites me right now. Nothing is like, I was playing. You know what I was actually playing? I've been playing, but it's a grinding game, dude. I was playing Arc Raiders. That's what I was playing. I like that game. It's decently fun, but I need people, like, my friends need to be, I want to play with my friends. I want to go in solo. And so maybe I could stream that going forward. Running into Statter Bros. See you guys after. If you're still here, if not, most likely tomorrow. We probably won't be here. I don't know how long you're going to be, but we probably won't be here. So thank you, Renoso. You've been an excellent addition as well, yourself, to the community. Love what you're doing in the Discord as well. You've been a good, really good addition to the Discord, making some nice conversations in there. So, yeah, so wish you the best, and we'll see you tomorrow, if anything. Tomorrow we'll be live for sure. 110% we'll be live. It's Friday, same time as today, 8:15 p.m. UK. The reason why I do UK is because people live in different places, and Manchester United, and we'll go off the English time, and then everybody can convert to that time. So, expect GTA next Christmas now. Well, listen, if they give it to us this year, well, if they're supposed to give it to us this year, yeah, it's supposed to be 2026 November. So if they give it to us this year, it'd be great. Even Lucky is happy with you, Renosa. See, he says, "Great, have Renosa here. Well, respect." See. All right. To finish up the news, because we're getting a bit sidetracked. Then we could get sidetracked at the end. Okay? One of the updates is new managers at Manchester United are expected not to have veto power over signings, adding another layer of pressure to the club's hierarchy. And I just need to say, did Ruben have veto powers? I mean, I didn't expect, and whatever manager, whether it was Ancelotti or Tuchel or, Nagels, I didn't expect any of them to get veto powers. Did Ruben have veto powers? I thought the whole point of why they wanted to, I thought one of the reasons why they wanted to get rid of Ten Hag was because they didn't like the veto power thing. And they didn't agree with that. They didn't give it to him. They didn't necessarily want it. They wanted to do their own thing. I mean, I don't think that's really news, but okay. That wasn't something that I was expecting. That wasn't something that I didn't think there was the slightest of possibility that was going to be a thing. Now that might be a problem if you want like Tuchel or Tuchel. I call him Tuchel. I'm gonna call him Tuchel. I'm gonna stop calling him Tuchel. Tuchel. If you want Tuchel, I think that might be a problem for Tuchel because I think Tuchel would probably want some shit like that. These guys don't seem like they want to give things like that. So I'm a bit worried about the manager job, yeah? Because again, it's like we don't really know where we sit because we don't really know what they want because they keep putting out shit all over the place. It would be nice if Mr. Sir Jim Ratcliffe or even Omar or even Jason can come out and actually talk, put out a fucking press release, put out, a 5-minute video, and just explain what the fuck the direction of the club is. And maybe you wouldn't necessarily do that because you're in the hunt for a manager. And maybe you don't want to put that out in the public right now, specifically for the manager. But it's just like, I don't know. They seem like they want somebody that is just going to work under them and they're going to have all the power and they're not going to have any power or much say. But then at the same time, there's things that come out that is like, well, we're not 100% against it. I'm like, well, it'd be a nice indication because if we knew, I could start crossing people off. Because I tell you now, if they're hell-bent on controlling large aspects and basically the manager or the head coach, as they call them now, with very minimum power, I think somebody like Luis Enrique is off the table. I think Tuchel is off the table. I think potentially maybe, Ancelotti could be off the table because of that, but maybe not, but maybe. And even any other sort of top manager. I don't know about Nagelsmann. Maybe Nagelsmann will be okay, but maybe not because he got a bit burned at Bayern Munich with that sort of model, and maybe he doesn't want to go back into a similar model. So maybe he wouldn't want the job. Bro, they don't know what direction of the club is. They don't know north, south, east, and west. They don't know left, right, up, and down. No, but what I'm saying is like, you have to, at the very minimum, Max. Listen, you could be incompetent, but I mean, bro, you can't be to be as incompetent as to say like you can't even define. What the fuck are you looking for? Do you want a guy that's gonna like do what you say and not have like much argument or much power, or are you willing to get somebody that's like experienced? That has like a sort of a proven track record that's obviously going to demand some more power, a little bit more leeway. You have to they have to be able to define, you know what I mean? They need to be able to say, okay, we want this or that. It's not that hard, but ultimately make the fucking decision, ultimately make the decision. Like, don't do what you did to Ruben. Don't do it to the next guy. I hope they don't do it to the next guy. I think that'll be a disaster. But don't do that. Don't promise him certain shit and then later on try and take it away. Or don't promise certain freedoms or certain power and then try and step on his toes. Just clearly identify what it is and then deal with it. Like, if you're going to take all this power, well, then just know you ain't going to get a fucking Luis Enrique. You're not going to get a Tuchel. So, that's your decision. Then go get the people that fit the role that you've defined it for. Nah, I mean, Lucky, listen, Avram Glazer, Joe Glazer are never going to speak, yeah? There was this other update. Michael Carrick has been told his Manchester United role is short-term, despite the interim tag being dropped. However, the club will stay open-minded in the summer if his spell proves successful. Which I said last time, I think you can't totally 100% deny... If Michael Carrick does well... I don't think you can 100% totally deny Michael Carrick an opportunity because of what happened with Solskjaer. At the same time, you can't then do the opposite and say, we're going to keep it open, we're going to look for a specific manager, and then Michael does well, and you say, yeah, fuck all that shit. Give him the job, give him a blank contract, and give him whatever he wants. You know, I think probably the right thing is, you're here for the remainder of the season. If you do well, we will promise you, at the very least, that we will consider you. No guarantees, no promises, but you'll be in consideration. And then go from there. The Zerbi has been one that has been mentioned with us for a while. Now, I don't know if I, per se, want De Zerbi. You know, I don't know. I don't, for whatever reason. And the reasons that I'm going to give you, it can't be anything that I say anything tactically. It can't be anything that I say I don't like the style of football or something like that. They mentioned De Zerbi, and I'm just like, I don't know about that. I don't know why. But just, they mentioned De Zerbi being the manager, and it just, I don't know. I just get a feeling of like, I don't like it. And I can't give you a specific as to why. I can't actually tell you it's because I don't like his system, or I don't like the football. I don't like him per se. I just don't like it. I don't know. I don't really know. To me, it's like, maybe it's because we had the chance, or there was an opportunity for him to come when we were looking to replace Ten Hag, and it never happened, and he went to the French league. And I'm just like, yeah, I think we could do better, I guess. You know, I kind of feel like we could do better. Maybe. You know, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's good. But I don't know. I feel like for him, I'm just like, dude, we could probably do better than that. I don't know. It's something like he doesn't fill me with like... He doesn't fill me with like confidence in that. Like, I feel like he would be a manager that's like guaranteed to be like some placeholder over... It's not even the right word, but a holdover placeholder manager, in that like he would come in and we would probably never win the league with him. Maybe he'd just make some stabilization, but at some point we'd have to get rid of him and we'd have to go get somebody else. Lucky says only manager we should get is Xavi Fernandez. I don't know about him either. I mean, why is he not in the job? You know, what's he doing? But there was this story keeps coming up about this secret midfielder, and Ben Jacobs won't tell us who it is, and I don't fucking know why. And I also think that like it's a bunch of bullshit. You know, like he knows who the guy is for whatever reason. Whether it's for clicks, interaction, Maybe, you know, he's being smart about it because it's building interest and all this shit. I think it's a bunch of nonsense and bullshit. Just tell us who the fuck it is, you know. We're not playing Guess Who. You know, we're not playing Guess. We're not playing the board game Guess. But, you know, this isn't, you know, I'm not watching an episode of Pokemon where they bring up the cut thing and they say, who's that Pokemon? And everybody already knows who the fucking Pokemon is. But it won't tell us the name. But he said, I'm aware of a midfield name that Manchester United are very interested in. And something may materialize. The name is out there. Bro, tell us the fucking... Bro, what are we doing? What is happening? What is happening? Why are you not telling us the name? And so much to say the name is out there. If the name is out there, then literally just say it. Stop being full of shit. Now, like, you know, this is the shit that I don't respect. Okay? You go in the United stand, now you want to play this fucking game of, like, Guess Who? The name is out there. You're having people literally searching the internet. And listen, I get it. From their standpoint, it's fucking smart, yeah? Because it's going to run the comments up, which is running the interactions up, which is good for them, yeah? So they win out of this. But at the same time, it's like, bro, again, the way people act, it's like you want me to take you seriously. And I try to take you seriously because I think, you know what, you're an alright journalist, okay? There's some really shit journalists out there. I think you're an alright journalist. I think you come with some good updates. But then you do something like that, and it's like, how do you want me to take you seriously when you're doing things like that? Like, come on, man. Axe is the secret midfielder. Well, there we go. I'm going to end this show. I'm going to make another show. Breaking news. Axe Lord is the secret midfielder. Breaking news. And we'll see what the fan base... We'll see what the fan base rates Axe Lord signing. I hope they integrate Carrick into transfer decisions. There are signs that is happening. Maybe a lesson has been learned. And they're met in the middle between Amorim and Ten Hag and control. Well, listen, they have been... you know what? To be fair, I don't know. Yeah, because to a certain degree, right? Like, if you look... Well, I don't know. I'm just thinking about, you know, did Ruben get any of the players that he actually wanted? Or did they give him all players that they suggested? Did he get, like... They got him for the positions that he was probably looking for, but did he actually get any of the players that he actually wanted himself? The thing with me is Cunha and Mbeumo. Because what I know for a fact is he didn't want Sesko. He preferred Ollie Watkins and Victor Gyökeres. He wanted Emi Martinez. He didn't want Sonny Lemons. So we know that for a fact. And I think he wanted Cunha. I think he wanted Mbeumo. So at least, you know, if you look at it, you say, well, 2 out of 4 signings, he's got 2 of his signings, and they got 2 of their signings. I think it's pretty split. Lauren says, I'm tired of the constant media circus around the club. All the speculation now becoming a game show. That's what I'm saying. It's a game show. It's a soap opera. You know. Lucky says might be clutching at straws, but Luis Enrique definitely not coming here. There, no, is Thomas Tuchel. Well, I'm just saying, like, I don't think it's as it stands right now. It's not likely, but there was the story that he might leave PSG, and you know, if he leaves PSG, at least there's an opportunity that you can maybe possibly get him. You know, if he's available, you can at least very much sit down and talk with the guy and see if he wants to come. Whether it happens or not is a different story, but if the club is gonna... If the position is gonna be set up in a certain way, well then I think it's way less likely, you know, when you look at those circumstances. Because the point I'm trying to put across is somebody like a Luis Enrique, with the persona that he has, with the experience that he has as a manager, with the level of manager he has, and that would fit into somebody like Thomas Tuchel or Carlo Ancelotti or even Antonio Conte. Like these guys, those are a certain type of managers. There's a certain level of managers, but that job position has to be a certain way. And if it's not a certain way, then all those guys are like off the list because there's just no chance that they're going to take it. They're not going to want it. You know what I mean? Right off the bat. They might not want it anyway because of the club and the way it's run, but like, you know, you could take them off the list now. If they say like, listen, we just want to coach and, you know, we set the formation, we set the style of play, his job is to coach. Well, they're not going to do that, are they? They're not going to do that, are they? We limit our options considerably if it comes to hiring a head coach instead of a manager, and that's the point that I'm trying to put across. So thank you, Axe. You've been real helpful today. This is the Axe that I like. Not that I don't necessarily like the other Axe, but this is the Axe that is the best Axe. The Axe that makes good points. Okay, and that's the point that I'm trying to get across. Is that how Axe said it? We're fairly limited in the amount of options we have, and you're also limiting a certain level. Like again, like I was trying to explain, those guys are at a certain level of manager. Then you look at the others, okay? Areola, even Carrick to a certain extent. Not to hit it, not to throw dirt on his name. I'm just being real, but Carrick, Areola. You know, maybe a fucking like an Eddie Howe or something like that. You know, they're different levels. They're not the same. And listen, it's not necessarily maybe a bad thing if you're clear in what you're doing with the club. And this was my part of my argument for Ruben, because even Ruben falls into that category as well. If you get somebody like Carrick, like Areola, like Eddie Howe, like, Ruben, okay? The process is going to have to be different than if you get an Ancelotti, you get a Tuchel, you get a Luis Enrique. It's got to be different. And you need to come out as director of football or as CEO or as minority owner, and you need to fucking set the narrative straight and say, we have a younger or less experienced manager. Now, word it differently, you know what I mean? But basically just say, like, we are building this project out. We're going a little bit of the longer route. We're going to do everything to give them the opportunities that they need. The building of the squad's going to take a little bit longer than, maybe if we had some other type of manager. But this is how we're going to go. Because to me, those things, those managers, it's all different projects. If you get Ancelotti, Tuchel, Luis Enrique, the project is different than if you have Michael Carrick, Eddie Howe, or Areola, or Ruben Amorim. They're different. They should be different. They'll go differently. And the reason why they go differently is because of the level of experience and the level of what they've accomplished. Ray is here. And Axe says, okay, good night, Glazes out, GGMU. Good night, brother. Be good. And we'll see you tomorrow, okay, buddy? Lucky says, Nagelsmann, Lewis, Tuchel, definitely not coming here, make clear fans with ownership recruitment. Well, listen, they could. They could. I mean, listen, for Tuchel, maybe not, because we already tried to get him and he already disagreed. So I feel like Tuchel might not, right? But I think somebody like Nagelsmann, there's a potential for it after the World Cup. He's a young guy, right? He's a younger guy, but he's done pretty good already for how young he is. And, there has been links in the past with him coming to Manchester United. I think he would kind of be interested in coming to Manchester United. and doing the Premier League as well. So I wouldn't necessarily say it's 100% no to somebody like Nagelsmann, but he'll have certain demands as well. And there's always that aspect of he did get a bit burned by Bayern in that setup, and our setup would sort of mirror Bayern setup a little bit in that you are a head coach and you have certain power, or you have less power. And yeah, I mean, he did technically get sacked from there, right? So he might not want to come. So Ray says we have to give Carrick a shot when Arsenal hire Arteta. He wasn't top manager. They gave him time a few years down the road, both players, and now they as a top team. Well, I said before, you know, he has till the end of the season. I think this is sort of his. I think this is sort of his, like, you know, his trial. Yeah, like he's, you know, this is his opportunity to make a claim for himself, if he should be considered or not. I think that's fair. Like, if you're going to be the Manchester United manager going forward, well, then you need to do a good job with the remaining time that you have, which is from now until then. If he does a good job, I still think that they shouldn't automatically, like, it shouldn't be automatically guaranteed to him, like right now. It shouldn't be like a public thing. It shouldn't be like, if you do well, you automatically get the job. He should be definitely there for consideration, but we should definitely leave it open, and we should definitely look at all available options and then make the best choice that we get. You know, when the opportunity is right. The difficulty about this is that some of the managers that we were linked to, or that we may be looking at, they're in the World Cup. So, you know, they might just be like, well, Carrick did well, and we don't really want to sit around for the next month or so waiting for these guys to get kicked out of the World Cup so we can open negotiations with them to bring them in as Manchester United manager, and then we need to do transfers. So, I don't know. They could be playing it in that they could be playing a game in that they're looking to give it to Michael Carrick. They hope Michael Carrick does well so they can give it to him, so that they don't have to go through that period. But maybe they're playing a little bit of, you know, optics in terms of, let's not confirm anything, let's not push anything, because just in case it goes bad. So they're trying to have the cake and eat it too, like they've been doing with a lot of shit. They're trying to play the middle of the road right now. They're like, well, we haven't really promised him anything. You know, if it does well, we'll give him for consideration. But meanwhile, they could just be like, listen, if it goes well, we're giving him the fucking job right off the bat. Like, you know, we're not going to sit here and wait. And maybe that's the right decision. Maybe it's not. Maybe they should wait. Maybe they should look at all available options. Maybe there's somebody that they could pick that's technically better than Carrick. You know, but I don't get paid to make these decisions. So it's not my job to get that right or wrong. I don't have an impact on the football club. Let's see. Finish out the show. Ajax are interested in signing Manuel Ugarte, and if he continues to fall down the pecking order with Mano back in the XI, a deal could become possible. Well, the problem that I have about that update is he just played in the game, and he played really well. So, he was falling down the pecking order. He was playing bad before, but he's had better performances. So, I mean, yeah, it makes sense in terms of, I mean, if he falls down the pecking order, you're most likely one to leave. But he's not trending in that way right now, so I don't know. We'll see what happens with him. We also did get an update. I keep hitting the desk so that I keep shaking the screen. Sorry. Shooters don't believe the £120 million valuation for Elliot Anderson will hold in the summer. Manchester United and Manchester City are interested, with Chelsea also potentially entering the race, and that's what I was saying before. So, yeah, I don't think. No, but I think they're dreaming for 120 million. I don't think it's going to happen. Another update is in coming days, Michael Carrick will hold talks with the recruitment team to assess whether a midfield signing is needed this January following developments in Kobe Mainoo's situation. Well, the fact that Casemiro is leaving, and we know Casemiro is leaving, and we talked about this, and we said we needed a midfielder anyway, and Cass is leaving now for sure. We should be looking to get in a midfielder. So I would assume that he would ask for a midfielder. Yes, you should be getting a midfielder. Now, one update that might be encouraging is that Elliot Anderson isn't the type to make a quick decision purely based on Champions League football. His focus is on the long-term project, similar to Mbeumo and Cunha. I will point out there that, okay, that might very well be good, but also Mbeumo has a certain love for this club, and Matheus Cunha has an even more certain love for this club. So I don't know if Elliot Anderson has that in him, which could be an ultimate defining factor. Now, to spin that back before when we were talking about Ndidi, it was told to us that first it was said that United were looking to get Ndidi. Then yesterday we got the story saying that Ndidi has been offered to us. Then Ben Jacobs told us today that Manchester United have made the approach for Ndidi rather than being offered the player. So, which I would believe this one, because that's something the club would do, because they know it's fucking embarrassing. They know it's embarrassing and they know it's shit. So instead of it making look like we're the ones trying to go get him, make it look like, well, he's been offered to us and, we weren't looking at it. But you know what? It's something. It's something. It's better than nothing. United have not decided whether to let Malacia leave this month amid interest from the European clubs. I mean, is he in his last year? Yeah, Dorgu's playing exceptionally well. An update about Mason Greenwood, which is interesting. Manchester United officials have initially explored the possibility of bringing Mason Greenwood back. The Red Devils included a buyback clause when they sold him to Marseille in summer 2024, and Greenwood has scored 20-plus goals across 2 seasons in France. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen, though, so. That's the case, they would have just hit the buy. They would have just hit the buyout clause. I don't know why we're getting that story. We're not buying him back. This was the Xerxes update. AS Roma, or just Roma, are planning to move for Joshua Xerxes, interested in a loan with an option to buy. Manchester United, however, are not actively looking to sell, and Xerxes is keen to fight for his place. Roma have held off amid disruptions at Old Trafford and United's recent schedule, but his recent absence versus Man City with a minor injury suggests a serious Roma approach could test both the club and the player. I don't. That's coming from Sky Sports. I mean, why would him getting a minor injury suggest a serious Roma approach? What does the injury have to do with him getting an approach from Roma? With all the other stuff that you just told us, that United are not actively looking to sell and Xerxes is keen to fight for his place, so him being injured or not, what does that have to fucking do with anything? Lawrence says I'd sell Xerxes and buy back Greenwood tomorrow, the striker we need for big trophies. Well, yeah, ability-wise, but here's the reason why that won't happen, Lawrence, okay? Because I don't think it's as big as it used to be. I think there's obviously people out there that would still have a very big problem if Mason Greenwood came back. Also, you know, we're Manchester United, right? So if we did it, not only would some of our own fans have a problem with it, but you know what they're going to do when we do that, right? You know what the media is going to do. You know what every single fucking person is going to do. They are going to absolutely try and destroy us for doing that. Because we're united. You know? Because we're united. If some other club did it, they talk about it for a day and they'd fucking they wouldn't give a shit. But if we did it, they talk about it for the next 6 months. And they would listen. And if he doesn't play good, and every chance they would get, they would try and hammer him. The reason why I don't think it'll happen is because, as we always talk about, United is a business. Not from us, but the way it's run. United is a business. Right? United is a business. I think it's bad PR. I don't think they want that. It's bad for brands. It's not a good look. You know, whatever it is. So I think that's why it won't happen. I don't think it has anything to do with like looking at a footballing decision, or anything like that. I think it's just that they just look at it and say it's a liability of negativity and it's not good for our business. So we won't do it. I think footballing wise, if you had footballing people, they might do the deal and just say, listen, we don't give a fuck. He did something fucked up, or he was alleged to do something fucked up. It was never proven, but I mean, whatever. You don't know because images, videos, and all that shit. But I don't. It's two people. Shit has happened before, so whatever it was, you could say, well, he did something stupid. He was young. It was disgusting. Second chances. We'll take care of him. He came from our academy. We should have taken care of him. We didn't take care of him. And this and that and the other. And maybe you do a footballing decision and you bring him back. And then you try to look out for him. But I think this club made it very abundantly clear. And the people that run our club haven't changed. And yeah, we got Ineos, but the Glazers is still there. And it's still run like a business. So I just think that they will never do it. Just for the sole fact of all of the negative connotations that will come along with it. And if you have a brand and a business, you don't want that shit associated with it, right? So plus also it would cause a bunch of outrage in the fan base, yeah, because there's still a lot of people out there, especially the females, right? Especially the females, especially the women. They would not like that at all. So, because I see it online, you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of guys out there and a lot of dudes, a lot of United fans that they do say stuff like this, that they would take Mason Greenwood back. And they don't have a problem with it. But every time I see one of those things, you go into the replies, and there's always female United fans, and they're just like, that's disgusting. And it's not even just female fans, but it's a lot of female fans. I mean, I'm reading at the comments here under the post that says United officials have internally explored the possibility of bringing Mason Greenwood back, and it's just like, people still posting the pictures. Which, by the way, I just to say, I find a bit weird that you still have those photos. You know what I mean? But I think that's a Liverpool fan, so he might have Googled it. The dog is going crazy. Yeah, that's a Liverpool fan that posted that. Somebody said they would be the happiest person alive. The dog needs to relax. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't think it'll happen anyway. So I don't think it'll happen. We're getting updates right now though, real quick before we close out the show. Kobbie Mainoo's contract is now a priority for Manchester United. He is happy to stay. Clubs see him as a crucial part of the club's future. That is coming from Fabrizio Romano, YouTube. And this has just been released. So Kobbie Mainoo's contract is now a priority for Manchester United. Well, it's about fucking time, I will say. There's another name being linked to us. Noah Siddiqui is moving up Manchester United's midfield shortlist. Interest is still tentative, but he's one of the options being closely watched. Yeah, for the summer. And Fabrizio Romano just posted this here. A little bit more context, a little bit more detail. Fabrizio direct quotes on Mainoo's contract. Manchester United remain keen on extending the contract and signing a new one with Kobbie Mainoo with different terms and salary. Mainoo is very happy with Michael Carrick and vice versa. If this good relationship with Mainoo and Carrick continues, then Manchester United are prepared to discuss a new contract with Mainoo. United feels his contract is a priority after parting ways with Casemiro. Contract talks will continue between Mainoo and United. United will be in contact with the camp of Mainoo. It's not something to agree today or tomorrow. It's going to take time. Well, I would assume, hopefully, before the season ends. I mean, I don't expect it to be done in a day or two because quite clearly they just reopened negotiations and we weren't negotiating. The negotiations stalled for over a year. But the situation has turned itself around, so I don't expect it to happen today, tomorrow, or next week. But in the next coming months, just get it done, get it over with, and let's all move forward so we can stop talking about Kobbie potentially getting sold, Kobbie potentially leaving. You know, we don't need this shit. And just a quick update. If you're wondering where Casemiro might go, there's 2 Saudi clubs interested in him. So he might end up in Saudi. Which isn't for him is not bad, bro. He did Real Madrid, he did United. You know, he's up there in age. He's at the end of his career. Maybe go get one last payday of a hurrah. And just finish out your career, you know what I mean? There is this update coming from Saudi as well, saying Saudi dealmakers want to sign 50. That's 50. I'm not misspeaking here. 50 peak age European players this summer as part of a new wave of talent. They are still keen on a deal for Bruno Fernandes with Al Ittihad, one of the 3 Saudi clubs considering a move for the Manchester United captain. Now, he does have a buyout clause, but the buyout clause, I believe, is for European teams. That's at like 56 million or something like that. He then, I don't know if he has a buyout clause for Saudi, and if he does have a buyout clause, it's different for Saudi. That's what was reported to us last time. So, if a Saudi club comes for him, there is a potential that we could get more money than that 56 million release clause because they don't have the option of 56 million. I don't know if it's a different release clause or they don't have that release clause doesn't apply to them because that release clause that's there is specific for European teams. So they're not European teams, obviously. So I don't know if they have a separate one for Saudi. I don't know if there's another release clause or they just don't have one. If they don't have one, well then they're going to have to pay. And if they want him, well, then they should pay us good money for that. So we'll see. Well, you say let's keep, we need squad experience. I get it, but also at the same time, it's up to him. He's going to have to want to stay as well. So it takes 3 parties. Well, really 2 right now. But 3. There's the interest, there's him, and there's United. So if United want to keep him, but he wants to go, well, then I think he should go and we should let him go. You know, if he wants to stay and United want to stay, then he'll stay, you know? But I still kind of say, listen, I mean, if they come and they offer us 100 million, I know I just said before early in the show that I don't want to lose Casemiro and Bruno in the same season because I think that's could rock the boat a bit too much when we're trying to build and gain some sustainability and some momentum. But I still think for a certain price, footballing wise, decision wise, you got to take that money if you reappropriate those funds, you know, properly. If we get 100 million, we get Champions League, Casemiro leaves, we could probably go spend a shit ton of money and get a bunch of players in a bunch of positions that we need. You know, one guy could probably get us maybe like 3 players. So, and I would like to sign at least 5 players. We'll call Palmer ain't calling. Good news, Kobe Mainoo can have his new contract. New one stays 2 years. And a major midfield overhaul could see as many as 4 new faces for Manchester United in the summer. Elliot Anderson and Baleba are their 2 top targets. Well, that's what it seems like we're gearing up for. So let's see how it goes. It does seem like we're gearing up for, you know, we did the attack and now it's going to be the midfield and maybe an addition of a, you know, a defender somewhere in there. But it seems like this summer, and it seems like what Ineos have decided to do is instead of trying to put a bunch of pieces, you know, instead of getting one guy here, one guy there, one guy there in all different areas of the pitch, they've spent one summer targeting the attack. It seems like they're going to spend this upcoming summer targeting the midfield. And then maybe the following summer, they target the defense more strongly. We still have to see what happens with Maguire, of course. He may potentially leave as well. But if we're playing a fullback, I mean, we got to see, you know, there's Martinez and De Ligt and then Lenny and Heaven. That should kind of technically be enough for coverage. But the issue is, obviously, you know, Martinez had bad injuries, so we just need to make sure that sort of past him and he's not going to get, you know, injured for a long time. And then the problem that we have is obviously De Ligt, because what we can't have is have those 4 guys and then have De Ligt doing what De Ligt is doing now, where was supposed to be out for 2 games and he's been out for almost 2 months. You know, if we have 4 center backs like that, we can't really afford De Ligt to be going missing for 2 months off of something that wasn't supposed to be, you know, serious. Like, listen, if somebody breaks their ankle, it's a different story. You know, that's, you know, it just happens, but you're going to be out. But when you were supposed to miss 2 games with some sort of a minor back injury and you've been gone for 2 months, well, that you can't really have. So, what a week. We've had 4 train crashes in Spain. That's terrible. Oh my God. While Greenland and in Ukraine are still undecided. Jesus. Night all. Good night, Lawrence. And we're going to be getting out of here as well. So everybody, thank you. Those are the updates for today. I'm sure we'll be getting more tomorrow. David Ornstein, just to cap this off, because there was one. Manchester United are likely heading into a big summer in the transfer market, says David Ornstein, Duncan Castles, etc., etc. So we'll see. I'm sure we'll get more big news tomorrow. We will be live same time that we went today, 8:15 p.m. UK. Thank you to everybody for supporting. Thank you to everybody smashing the like button. Thank you to everybody contributing in the chat. Thank you to everybody that's just watching and didn't get involved in the chat, but the silent ones as well. And yeah, just everybody have a good night. Be safe. Hopefully no more train crashes or anything of that. Have a good night. Enjoy yourselves. We'll see each other tomorrow. Make sure you're there. I want to see everybody there. It's Friday vibes. It's going to be a good one. It's always a good one. Friday shows are always great. Everybody's always, amazing on the Friday. The Friday shows are awesome. So, yeah, make sure you're there and take care. Be good. Stay safe. Have a good night and enjoy, guys.